Tonight, breaking news, the desperate search for survivors following catastrophic flash floods in central Texas. The death toll soaring as dozens are still missing, and now the tropical threat as millions head home from the long holiday weekend. First, grief and uncertainty as search and rescue operations enter a third day. More than 75 people killed across Texas, including girls from a Christian summer camp. Many are still missing. The hardest hit area, known as Flash Flood Alley. Officials now facing mounting questions about why the summer camps were not evacuated despite warnings about severe weather. And tonight, the new details about the victims, the young campers, and the heroes. We're in the air with the U.S. Coast Guard searching for survivors. Pope Leo among the millions around the world offering prayers and condolences. Matt Gutman and Mireya Villarreal in the disaster zone. Torrential rain could also hinder the journey home for millions of Americans after the July 4th weekend. Tropical storm Chantal coming ashore in the Carolinas overnight on what's expected to be the busiest day for air travel and driving. Our weather team tracking it all. President Trump issuing a new tariff warning. The White House saying he'll start sending about a dozen letters tomorrow to countries explaining the new tariff rate each could face if they don't make a deal. Billionaire Elon Musk says he's starting a new political party after slamming President Trump's massive tax cut and spending bill. Israeli Prime Minister Bejamin Netanyahu heading to the White House for a meeting with President Trump. This comes amid deadly airstrikes and a new push for a ceasefire with Hamas. A Domino's pizza shop erupts into flames in Utah after a three-car wreck ruptures a nearby gas line. Multiple shark sightings again forcing a holiday weekend beach closure. Ozzy Osbourne taking the stage for a final bow. Details of the rock legend's retirement concert. And America Strong tonight, the 12-year-old on a mission, soothing rescue animals with music.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Whit Johnson. We begin tonight with breaking news. The flash flood tragedy in central Texas, the death toll soaring amid growing uncertainty and anguish. And late today, authorities issuing new flood warnings in some of those same hard-hit areas. Across the state of Texas, the staggering numbers. More than 75 people killed, including more than 24 children, as fast-moving floodwaters overwhelmed campgrounds and communities. And so many are still missing, including girls from a Christian summer camp. But tonight, we're also seeing the emotional reunions and hearing harrowing tales of survival. This time-lapse video showing just how quickly the Llano River swelled, overwhelming the area in just 10 minutes, leaving those nearby only seconds to escape. Now the urgent search for survivors, hundreds already rescued. Our Mireya Villarreal is in the air with the U.S. Coast Guard as they aid in the rescue efforts. And tonight, President Trump saying he plans to visit the state later this week. We have team coverage. Our Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman leads us off from Kerrville, Texas.
Tonight, with the floodwaters receding, that death toll mercilessly rising. More than 75 people are reported dead and 41 confirmed missing after that early morning July 4th deluge sent a flood wave that swallowed riverside camps and communities. Up to a foot of rain raised the Guadalupe River 26 feet in less than an hour. And a wall of water and debris tearing through Camp Mystic, where 750 girls were spending July 4th, dozens of children and counselors trapped in their bunks as the waters coursed through the camp. And tonight, 10 girls and 1 counselor still reported missing. And as the water filled her home, Rachel Sanchez making this desperate plea.
I have my dad on hospice and I need to get him out of here. He's bedridden, he can't walk, he can hardly move, and look where the water is. So somebody please, we've called 911.
Rachel and her family eventually making it out to safety. That is hundreds of first responders using boats, scouring stadium-sized debris fields for the stranded. Flying helicopters too, reaching people clinging to tree canopies.
Our goal is to rescue those in peril and find those who are lost.
Aerial images showing the devastation, trees toppled, bridges severely damaged. And across the area, hundreds of submerged vehicles being searched.
You may be able to see that red car being pulled out of that spillway right now. You can see how much mud is inside of it. Some of the people who helped dig it out said it took hours to dig out, and they believe there's a body still inside there.
Scraping through the mud, they didn't find anyone. We then followed a team of searchers into a forest smashed by the flood.
This is like walking through a jungle of debris. Everywhere you look, you see signs of where people had been camping or driving. And first responders here have to pick through all of this, trying to find the telltale signs of a body.
And tonight, growing questions about alerts and evacuations. The Texas Department of Emergency Management had warned of continued heavy rainfall and flash flooding threats 2 days before the disaster. And tonight in traumatized Kerrville, new alerts.
To most people in the area, flash flooding would mean one thing, not what it turned out to be.
Today, President Trump approving a major disaster declaration for the area. FEMA now on the ground to assist. Among the victims who lost their lives, Dr. Catherine Eads was camping in an RV with her husband. The pair separated in the floodwaters. Catherine's family saying her life was cut far too short. She was an incredible wife, daughter, mother, grandmother, and person who spent her life helping kids. Heart of the Hills camp remembering their director, Jane Ragsdale, for her strong, joyful spirit. And 27-year-old Julian Ryan, who leaves behind 2 young sons. His family saying he tried to break through a window as the waters rose inside their trailer, suffering a severe cut to his arm. His last words to his fiancée were, "I love you, I'm so sorry." His sister saying he didn't die in vain, he died a hero.
It's just devastating, but I want to give you a sense of the power of those floodwaters. What you're seeing behind me is a 53-foot wide, 30-foot tall stage that belonged to part of a July 4th festival. It was swept downriver like a bath toy. Now it's wrapped against those trees, and you can see it's drizzling right now. We've been receiving emergency alerts on our phones, and at this point, officials are saying that any amount of rainfall is potentially life-threatening because the ground here is so very saturated.
That devastation, just unimaginable. Matt Gutman, thank you. And tonight, we're also hearing those incredible stories of survival. Hundreds of people have been rescued so far, some desperately clinging to trees and rooftops to stay safe from the rapidly rising floodwaters. And as we noted earlier, our Mireya Villarreal is with the U.S. Coast Guard tonight.
Tonight, we're in the air with the U.S. Coast Guard as they aid in the rescue efforts in central Texas.
Right now, we're hovering over the water river about 40 miles down from where those camps were predominantly affected. This is where a lot of the debris has built up in this area.
The search made even more difficult by the dense forest below.
Talk about the importance of the technology on this particular plane that maybe differs from what we're seeing out there.
We got a FLIR camera on the front of the aircraft. You can see back there, it's that little black ball turret up there. But it is a very good camera that we have, and it's also an infrared camera, so we can find heat signatures.
More than 400 first responders from 20 different agencies helping rescue nearly 1,000 people since Friday. Juliet Weldon and her husband were 2 of them, swept away by the floodwaters.
We came out and it was already raging.
They held on to branches as they called 911 for help.
What's been the hardest for you?
You're calling for help and there's nobody. Where are they?
Crews eventually reached Juliet and her husband, pulling them to safety. But she says they didn't get adequate warning about the potential threat.
They didn't say, seriously, you better be careful. This is like we have this many however inches of rain coming here and you will all be washed away.
Officials continue to say this kind of catastrophic event is something no one could have predicted.
The moment in time when they knew the magnitude of the water, it's a difficult decision whether or not to begin evacuating people or not, because if you have a warning telling everybody to evacuate, you could actually lead them to their death.
It is raining now once again in this area, and weather conditions can determine whether or not a plane, a helicopter can be in the air safely. But regardless, this crew that we were with today, they are committed to the mission of finding those missing people. No matter how long it takes, it is a sentiment that has been shared by local and state authorities, days, weeks, or even longer.
Yes, a massive operation. Mireya, thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our New York station, WABC. And Danny, again, you're tracking multiple threats from Texas to the southeast.
Let's start in Texas. It's the last thing we want to hear. Another round of drenching downpours in central Texas. The ground already saturated, meaning it's that much easier to trigger flash flooding. Case in point, active flash flood warnings for parts of Kerr County tonight, which does include Camp Mystic's grounds, as well as flash flooding in parts of Burnett, Travis, and Williamson counties, which were the areas hit hard Saturday. Thankfully, these storms will be shorter-lived, losing intensity after sunset. Rain chances diminished tonight with isolated storms expected Monday, but luckily a long stretch of dry weather expected for the majority of the work week. Turning to what's left of Chantal tonight, locally heavy rain possible in North Carolina and Virginia into early Monday morning with isolated flash flooding possible. From here, the remnants head up the I-95 corridor with tropical moisture fueling scattered storms Monday afternoon and evening. While the storm itself is moving on, rip current risk does persist for the mid-Atlantic coast. Whit.
All right, Danny, thank you. We appreciate it. And stay with ABC News for our continuing coverage of the disaster in Texas, streaming on ABC News Live and tomorrow on GMA, of course, back here on World News Tonight. We're also following that other severe weather threat in the southeast, Tropical Storm Chantal making landfall overnight. It lashed Myrtle Beach and other parts of the Carolinas with rain and gusty winds. And it comes as millions of Americans are packing airports and highways, heading home after the long holiday weekend. ABC's Faith Abubey reports from Atlanta.
Tonight, millions heading back home from a record holiday travel crush as remnants of Tropical Storm Chantal drenched parts of the East Coast. Dangerous flash flood watches putting hundreds of thousands on alert. The storm roaring ashore in the overnight hours. Chantal packing sustained winds of 50 miles an hour around 4 a.m., making landfall in Litchfield Beach, South Carolina.
The greatest threat from Tropical Storm Chantal now moving inland. Now we are dealing with those lingering impacts, life-threatening rip currents and rough surf, making for some dangerous conditions on the water.
But the post-holiday travel rush remains largely unaffected, even as millions hit the road and pack airports.
To the right, including Spirit. All gates off flight, yes sir.
Nearly 3 million air travelers expected to pass through security checkpoints.
How are you feeling traveling at the end of the holidays? It's overwhelming just because we know this is a really busy airport.
Meanwhile, a majority of travelers crowding major highways, more than 61 million, expected to hit the roads this holiday, up more than 2% from last year.
And we're back here at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson, the world's busiest airport. More good news for air passengers. No significant disruptions here. And nationwide, only a handful of cancellations so far. Whit.
That is some good news. We'll take it, Faith. Thank you. Next tonight, President Trump's new tariff warning. What he just said about sending dozens of letters tomorrow to countries facing new tariffs if they don't make a deal. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Tonight, America's trading partners on edge, bracing for more tariff whiplash. Trump's 90-day pause on those sweeping tariffs set to expire this week. But tonight, the White House now signaling another deadline.
President Trump's going to be sending letters to some of our trading partners saying that if you don't move things along, then on August 1st, you will boomerang back to your April 2nd tariff level.
But the president saying tonight that most countries will still have a deal by the deadline.
I think we'll have most countries done by July 9th.
Yet his Commerce Secretary saying the timeline has been pushed back.
But they go into effect on August 1st. The tariffs go into effect August 1st, but the president is setting the rates and the deals right now.
But trade deals typically take years to negotiate. Trump's shift in strategy, a sign of how complicated that process really is.
I think the letters are better. I think a simple tariff is simpler and better than sitting down and working 15 different things.
The White House insisting deals are close, but so far only partial or framework agreements have been announced with Vietnam, China, and the UK. Meanwhile, businesses are left in limbo, unsure how much they'll have to pay for imported goods. And even as Wall Street hits record highs, consumer confidence dropped in June, and retail sales fell sharply in May as tariff anxiety mounts. This summer, retailers pulling out all the stops. For the first time, Amazon is expanding Prime Day from 2 to 4 days, with Walmart and Target running competing sales.
And there's still a lot of confusion ahead of those letters going out. The Trump administration says that only some countries will receive them, and they'll have until August 1st to make a deal. For the rest, it's unclear if that original July 9th deadline still stands. Whit.
Selena Wang at the White House, thank you. Now to billionaire Elon Musk saying he's forming a new political party. This after a public spat with President Trump over his massive tax cut and spending bill. Let's bring in ABC's Perry Russum in Washington tonight. And Perry, what are you learning about this new party?
Yeah, with Elon Musk breaking even more from President Trump, saying he will create the America Party. Musk making the announcement after President Trump signed his mega bill into law. Elon has been highly critical of the spending bill, threatening to campaign against Republicans who voted for it. His relationship with Trump has soured ever since he left the administration. On July 4th, he created a poll on X asking users if they wanted independence from the two-party system. It appears no paperwork has been filed to create the party just yet, but Musk says the America Party will focus on the midterms next year, targeting 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House seats. Late today, President Trump responding, calling the idea ridiculous, saying it adds to confusion. Whit.
We'll stand by for new details. Perry Russum, thank you. Israeli Prime Minister Bejamin Netanyahu is heading to the White House for a meeting with President Trump. This comes amid a new push for a ceasefire agreement with Hamas. Let's bring in ABC's chief international correspondent James Longman in Tel Aviv tonight. And James, where do those negotiations stand now?
Well, Prime Minister Bejamin Netanyahu is on his way to the U.S. tonight for his first face-to-face meeting with President Trump since those U.S. strikes on Iran. And there is hope tonight of a Gaza ceasefire being announced in the coming days. It would pause the fighting in Gaza for 60 days and bring the release of at least 10 of the living hostages. President Trump has said he wants a deal soon, and indirect talks between Israel and Hamas are now back on in Doha. After months, Benjamin Netanyahu has said he wants a deal, and Hamas has also responded positively, but there are some issues remaining. Hamas wants the IDF to fully pull out of Gaza, and they're looking for US guarantees that this ceasefire will lead to a complete end of the war. They also want the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to cease its operations. It is a US-backed initiative, but it has been accused of some major violations, and a ceasefire, of course, cannot come soon enough for the people of Gaza. Hamas says a surge of airstrikes in just the last 24 hours has left more than 80 people dead and more than 300 injured. Whit.
James Longman for us tonight. Thank you. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday. A second shark sighting in New York during the holiday weekend, raising concerns. And find out how 2 people escaped this fiery crash near Salt Lake City. Next tonight, a fiery crash at a Utah strip mall. Flames poured from an SUV that slammed into a Domino's pizza shop near Salt Lake City last night. Police saying the vehicle part of a 3-car crash. Fire officials saying bystanders pulled 2 people from the burning SUV. At least 3 people taken to the hospital. The Domino's was destroyed. When we come back, rock legend Ozzy Osbourne takes his final bow. To the Index now, a big send-off for the man who called himself the Prince of Darkness. 40,000 fans packing a British soccer stadium for Ozzy Osbourne, the 76-year-old Black Sabbath lead singer, in his final concert. Tribute Saturday from rockers Metallica and Aerosmith's Steven Tyler, as well as Dolly Parton and Sir Elton John. Osbourne at the end thanking fans for decades of support. Well, a second straight day with a shark sighting at a popular New York beach. Police drones spotting that shark and closing part of Rockaway Beach in Queens again yesterday. City officials saying it was within 100 feet of swimmers. Friday, 2 sharks in that very same area. New York's governor saying shark patrols are now ramped up. Still ahead, a 12-year-old on a mission, calming nerves with wild tunes. America Strong tonight, harnessing the healing power of music for shelter animals.
12-year-old Yuvi Agarwal loves music, playing the piano since he was 4. He also loves animals, and after noticing how his music helped calm his restless golden doodle Bozo, he had an idea. Could pets in shelters benefit too? So a couple of years ago, he created a non-profit organization called Wild Tunes with help from his parents.
We get volunteers to come and play an instrument or sing for them, and it helps calm them down.
So far, he's recruited about 100 volunteer musicians and singers to perform at 9 shelters in Houston, New Jersey, and Denver. Volunteer Sarah McDonough plays the flute.
So I think it's very important to give them something different than what they're used to in their little tiny cages and make them more adoptable.
Watch how listening to live music affected these animals at Fort Bend Animal Shelter. After just a few minutes of playing, they went from excited to more relaxed. Witnessing firsthand the power of music to comfort, UV now hopes to take wild tunes nationwide.
And we're cheering you on. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.